Whoa, Trump is asking the Republicans to do a debt default. Yes, Trump is asking the US government, he says he prefers a default. Of course, that would tank the US economy, right? And if the GOP or the Republicans don't get what they want, which is huge spending cuts, can you imagine if that happened? What do you think would happen to the markets? See, you probably heard by now that by June 1st, which is only about 2 weeks away, that United States government might default on all its debt because it can't hike the debt ceiling. They can't get agreement. What does that mean? It's like anybody who defaults on their debt. It means you're going bankrupt. You can't repay your mortgage or credit card debt. It means you can't repay your debt and you're officially bankrupt. That's happening to the US government on June 1st if they don't sort out this first. And Trump is, of course, using this as extra pressure to get what he wants, right? He's asking the GOP, the Republicans, to negotiate as hard as they can, as hardball as they can. And he says, unless the Democrats agree to this, then basically let it default. Let the US government default. And of course, if you watch my videos, I've been telling you that would be like the worst thing that could happen for the US economy, for the world economy. Now, but it doesn't have to default as... Yes, the debt ceiling will be hit on June 1st or early June, but it doesn't necessarily mean US defaults on its debt. Because what the United States government can do is it can stop spending on other stuff and repay its debt first. See, when the debt ceiling is hit, as the name implies, it means there's a ceiling. You cannot borrow any more money on top of that ceiling. That's the limit, right? So that means the United States cannot borrow more money to repay its old debt, which is what it has been doing. And it actually owes about something like $31 trillion, and it needs to repay $395 billion just to repay interest mostly and retiring some old debt, which is like 7% of all the spends is basically just repaying interest and old debt. Now, if it hits the debt ceiling, remember the United States government still has about $4 trillion coming in as tax receipts every year, right? So it can still use that money to repay its debt. But that means it's going to have to make huge spending cuts in other areas. How huge? See, something like 4 trillion comes in and it spends about 6 trillion or so. So there's a 2 trillion budget deficit. It's going to have to make cuts, huge cuts, to get $2 trillion out, either in income security, social security, health, or national defense, or Medicare, whatever. So which area do you think the US government should make cuts in order to avoid a debt default and bankruptcy?